Hey everybody, it's Kevra. That's me, I'm Kevra, and this is going to be the best Mario Party game ever. Or the worst. Maybe somewhere in between. Super Mario Party Jamboree got announced last week, and ever since then, I have been on a roller coaster of emotions. Yeah, I know for you guys it was 2 months ago, but when I started recording this video, the direct was last week. So, time. And that's kind of what this video is gonna go over. I'm basically going to talk about the trailer, I'm going to talk about what I've seen, what I think and feel, and just things in that nature. So we're gonna go ahead and start from the beginning, which for me was the day before the direct when I made a post saying that I didn't think a Mario Party was even coming out this year. Now, there's a lot of different reasons why, but the biggest reason was just because I knew that the next Switch was coming out next year, and it sounded like it was supposed to come out this fall, and then it got delayed, and I just figured that if they had any big selling games, they would wait until the Switch too. And I still feel like I was a little bit valid in thinking that because all of their other announcements aren't gonna sell 10 million copies. Like, all the stuff that they announced, probably gonna sell 5 million tops, maybe 7 or 8 if they're lucky. Now that being said, I still did think that there was a chance it was gonna show up because when does Nintendo ever do anything logical? So when I saw Kamek fly up to the screen, I instantly knew this was a Mario Party. Before Kamek even said, this is a bigger, bolder Mario Party, I was like, this is the Mario Party that everyone predicted, okay. And of course, that moment was just a very guttural, negative moment for me. If you've watched my channel, you know that I was a giant advocate for Superstars getting DLC. And watching a new Mario Party come out, even though I knew that's what the next step was going to be. I knew there was no longer a chance for getting Superstars DLC, but just that confirmation of a new Mario Party game coming out instead was just kind of like a punch in the gut. It wasn't a sucker punch. I saw the punch coming, but it still hurt. As someone who wanted more legacy content, it sucked knowing that they had, for a fact, moved on. And then I got a second punch in the gut when I saw the title card. A sequel to what I consider the worst home console Mario Party game. Now, that being said, again, this was a punch I saw coming because I knew that it was gonna be called Super Mario Party. I said that years ago, even though some people were like, oh no, they're gonna change the title. It was just kind of like Mario Party Island Tour, except it's Super Mario Party, and then the next one's gonna be called Mario Party something or other. And clearly those people were a little bit right, I guess, because I thought it was gonna be called Super Mario Party 2. This is Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is just a mouthful. And so I instantly had a third negative reaction because I'm like, why is this title so long? Why not just call it Super Mario Party 2, or even better, Mario Party Jamboree? Leave out the super part. I don't understand. What are we doing here? I guess that's because they want to differentiate Super Mario Party from Mario Party. Like, Mario Party is all about like the old content, so it's gonna be Mario Party subtitle, either Superstars 2, Dream Stars, whatever have you. That's gonna be like old stuff, but then the Super Mario Party stuff is gonna have like new boards, but then also old boards too, but like it's mostly new. It's weird. So about the first 20 seconds of this trailer were pretty rough, not gonna lie. I was not liking what I was seeing, and then they went from the title card to a map that I recognized, but I was like, wait a second, no, that's not, no, this is a new Mario Party, wait, hold on. And because it was such a brief glimpse, though I suspected it was Mario's Rainbow Castle, when they cut away, I was like, no, that just must have been something. It's a new board, it's in the clouds, you know, or maybe it's an extra side mode or something. That's not what I'm thinking it was. I mean, they would have just added that to Superstars. Because while I did do a video on the fact that if they don't do Superstars DLC, I did see them possibly doing this Mario Kart style thing where they're gonna do, you know, 3 boards that are old and 3 boards that are new, or maybe even 4 boards that are new and 2 boards that are old or something like that. I didn't think they were gonna stick with the N64 generation, or at the very least that they weren't gonna stick with like Mario Party 1 and 2, considering they already got the most love in Superstars. So I was like, that's not it. It's gotta be something else. And I also just didn't have a lot of time to process it because they show up for like 5 seconds. Then the trailer started showing us the brand new boards, starting with Rainbow Galleria. The big takeaway here was, oh, stars are 20 coins. They're not 10 coins like they were in Super Mario Party, except during the flash set. Like, they're still trying to make them be 10 coins, even though they're not regularly 10 coins. And it's just like, okay, I see what you're doing there, NDCube. So that was simultaneously kind of good, but then also kind of bad. Then they switched over to Roll'em Raceway. And the gimmick here is, you're in a car? It's not quite Mario Party, because you're in your own little car. But at the same time, that was kind of the thing that they were showing off, was that, hey, you're in a car in this course. That plus the quadruple dice, but other than that, that's kind of all they were showing off, so I wasn't really impressed, at least off first glance. And then they showed off Goomba's Lagoon, and my reaction was, okay, I actually really like this one. This one's got like an aquatic theme. I'm a sucker for an aquatic theme, so yeah, I'm on board for get it like a ship. I'm on board. Okay. Then they announced that they're doing 5 new boards with 2 old boards, and I instantly went, that was Mario's Rainbow Castle! I knew it! In Western Land? Wait, what? That was the point where my brain just hit a wall of confusion. I was really excited because these were the 2 boards I wanted most as DLC for Superstars. But I was also really disappointed because it's not in Superstars. It's in this brand new game that I don't know a whole lot about. Like, are they gonna ruin these boards with bad mechanics? Are they gonna have like 6-sided die? Like, am I going to absolutely despise these remakes because the game was a lot more like Super Mario Party as opposed to Mario Party Superstars? And that fear increased exponentially whenever I saw them showing off the Joy-Con and the motion minigames. Now, I'm not someone who hates motion minigames. I actually kind of like motion minigames, but I also just like a very small amount. But my biggest problem is I really hate the Joy-Con. The Joy-Con is just too small. It makes no sense. It's a half a controller. So watching this section of the video didn't really ease my mind. And then for the rest of the trailer, I didn't really care because they were just showing off side modes. So like my mind was like on everything I saw previously, or just waiting for them to give me something else that I cared about, and they didn't, because again, it was just like 20 players online, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. And then eventually the trailer ended, and I was kind of just watching the rest of the directs, but as you could tell, my first reaction to this trailer, not good. I was worried that it was going to be too much like Super Mario Party. I was worried that once again they had focused way too much on the side modes as opposed to the boards. I was worried that once again I was going to be forced to play with the Joy-Con. I was confused why Mario's Rainbow Castle and Western Land weren't in Superstars. And these were basically the thoughts that simmered in my mind throughout the rest of the direct. Now, once the direct ended, I did what I always do at the end of every direct. I hit up my buddy Zach, I asked him if he watched the direct, he'll say no, then I'll tell him the highlights of the direct. He'll go look up a couple of those things, and then if there's anything of interest, he'll give me a call. And considering he also spent over 200 hours in Mario Party Superstars, mostly playing against me, you bet your ass he called me up and we mostly spent an hour or 2 hours talking about Mario Party Jamboree. And at that particular moment in time, he was the yin to my yang because I asked him what he thought about the trailer. And he was like, oh my gosh, it was awesome. I loved it. I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah. What about you? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm really worried. I don't think it looks good. Hi, I'm Kevra. I suck the joy out of life. So I asked him, I was like, so what did you like about the trailer? And he was like, well, it's a new Mario Party. Like, I'm just looking forward to playing a new Mario Party, man. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but at the same time, it's Super Mario Party Jamboree. It's a sequel to Super Mario Party. We didn't like Super Mario Party. He's like, yeah, that's true. Actually, oh yeah, that is actually, ooh. But it's not gonna be like Super Mario Party, right? Isn't it gonna be like Mario Party Superstars? Like, why would they go back to Super Mario Party? And I'm like, well, they're calling it Super Mario Party Jamboree, so... And even though Zach has played all of the Mario parties, he's not as well versed as like I am, or maybe you are. Where just the other day, he was like, wait, which one was Western Land in? I was like, Mario Party 2. So yeah, because they all blend together for him a little bit, I started reminding him of what we didn't like about Super Mario Party. For example, 6-sided die, character die, the broken ally system, no Bowser spaces, no chance time. So it was this whole conversation based on things that we didn't know, especially because at that point, each of us had only seen the trailer once. So we both tried watching the trailer again, and this time I think the big takeaway for me was what the deal with Bowser was. Now, I'm someone who typically plays as Bowser if it's an option. It started with Mario Kart 64, and ever since then, I have basically played him in every kind of Mario multiplayer game, including Super Smash Bros. Like, he is my main character that I go to in a lot of these different games. But I hated him as a playable character in Super Mario Party. One, because he's just that awkward big character that kind of takes up a lot of screen, even though you know his hitbox is the same as everybody else's. So in minigames, if you're playing as him, it can kind of throw you off depending on the minigame, and then also it can throw everybody else off too, just because it's, again, he's just this giant thing. Of course, that's not my biggest problem with him, because DK is also kind of big, but my biggest problem was the fact that they took him away in Super as a board mechanic to make him a playable character, and that ruined part of the board play. I mean, it was really hard to, even if you did have Bowser, let's face it, the mechanics still would have been pretty terrible. But every time you landed on an unlucky space and Kamek was like, roll the wheel, it felt less immersive. It felt like less of an antagonist screwing you over. Like when you land on a Bowser space and you go to Bowser, it's like, oh no, what's he gonna do? But when you play Super Mario Party, it's just like, that's bad luck. Now, I will admit, in both situations, it is the game that is screwing you over, but there's just something so much better about having a character there that feels like he's responsible. It's not the game that you enjoy that's dicking you over, it's this asshole. There's just something that makes it a little bit more like you're on the edge of your seat when Bowser is the one doing stupid shit to you. As opposed to like a roulette or even just Kamek, which just felt weird. But Zach and I knew that Bowser was at least kind of gonna be an antagonist in Super Mario Party Jamboree because we saw him on the board in a gigantic purple glowing form. But it also looked like he was a playable character, so we were kind of confused about that, and that's when we started looking for Bowser spaces. And eventually I found one on Mario's Rainbow Castle, and I was like, oh wait, so great, there is Bowser spaces. He is like an actual antagonist. But then he's also playable at the same time, and honestly, that was the thing that we both agreed on was actually just kind of stupid. Even to this day, I'm like, no, I absolutely disagree with that choice. Some people have said, oh, it's the best of both worlds, but I completely disagree because it looks like, and I could be wrong, but it looks like the Bowser that's gonna be the antagonist is actually just Kamek. It's just a projection that Kamek is doing to make himself look like Bowser or just to do some like sort of illusion of Bowser, which you might say, oh, that's just the same. And I'm like, it's not really. Like, I mean, okay, no matter what, Bowser is fake. Like, he's not a real person, right? But at the same time, now they're doing this double layer of fake. Because now in this world, there's also a fake version of him. And I'm not a big fan of that. Maybe if they had switched it around, where it's like the playable character is the fake version of Bowser, where it's just like a small Kamek projection, and then you could also just decrease like the size of him because it's like a smaller version, or like even have like a Goomba in a Bowser suit, and again, you make it smaller so the hitbox like makes sense. So there was just this kind of like weird reaction of like, yay, he's a mechanic, but he's also playable. And so it was just a very mixed reaction until I noticed that right next to that Bowser space was a chance time space. Now, Mario Party doesn't have to have a chance time space. I freaking love Mario Party 7 and 8, even though they don't have chance time. But the reason I was excited wasn't because chance time was in the game, but because this game was looking more like Mario Party Superstars. But I still wasn't quite convinced because as we continued to look on, I was like, I really don't like the fact that there's a clearance sale for stars. Like, yes, it's a good thing that stars are overall 20 coins, but it feels like this particular board, Rainbow Galleria, is still trying to do Super Mario Party. Now, I didn't see any allies, and that was actually a great sign, but I was trying to see if any of the characters were rolling dice and figure out, are there character dice? Are there six-sided dice? What is the deal with this? And that's when Zach pointed out, oh wait, no, you can go up to 40 spaces if you roll 4 dice for this one special item. So it looks like they're back to 10. And I gotta say, that eased my mind a little bit, even though I still was a little bit worried because certain character dice also went up to 10. So maybe this special item that sounds like it might only be on this board might be the exception to the rule. Maybe it's the only item that lets you go up to 10, or maybe there's specific items, but standard is 1 through 6. But because the boards are so big, I was inclined to believe that we are back to 1 through 10 dice. Plus, if you look at the box art, it does look like Mario is holding a dice block that contains the number 8. So I do kind of think that we're back to the 1 through 10 standard dice, but there were also character dice that had the number 8 on them. Which means it could be a special character dice, in which case, that's really bad because they were so broken in Super Mario Party. And I, for one, don't want to pick a character based on its dice because it's a lot better than picking a character that I would rather play as, but he has a crappy dice, so I'm not going to pick him. But as you can probably tell, I was feeling more and more optimistic the more we slowly combed through this trailer. You know, I noticed things like, it appears like Boo is still a mechanic on the board, even though you can also play as Boo. Which again, you don't need the Boo mechanic necessarily, but it is nice that they brought it back. It is something that I know that I like. Even though I am not a fan of Boo being a board mechanic and as a playable character, I know that there's a bunch of Boos, but it's still weird to have a Boo stealing from a Boo. Like, it's not that big of a deal, and I will say that in Mario Party 5, that is the main character I play as, is Boo. But I think I'm gonna do that as a separate video, me talking about the roster and the things that, like, I don't think more is better. It's an unpopular opinion, but I'm an unpopular YouTuber, so it kind of balances out. So Zach and I continued to talk, we continued to look through footage, and by the end of this 2-hour phone call, I was actually feeling a little bit optimistic. I still wasn't quite as optimistic as Zach was, and I do think I killed a little bit of his enthusiasm, but by the end of it, overall, we were both feeling pretty good. But then I decided to go and see how the internet was feeling, and the internet was really enthusiastic. You know, whether it was comments in forums or a YouTuber's reaction video, everyone was basically acting like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Mario Party is back, baby! This is going to be the best Mario Party ever. Oh my gosh, it looks so incredible. It looks so good. And I was like, slow down there, guys. But now that it's 2 months later, I can safely say that's where I'm kind of still at. Like, everyone else on the internet seems to act like this is gonna be the best Mario Party ever. They're already saying that it is the best Mario Party game ever. It's got 7 boards. It's got 20 playable characters. It's got this, it's got that. It's like they finally listened to us. They're actually giving us what we want. And it's like, well, maybe. But doesn't this sound familiar? Haven't you heard this somewhere before? Weren't we watching an E3 trailer back in 2018 and being like, oh my gosh, they took the car away. We're back to free roaming around the board. Super Mario Party is gonna be the best Mario Party ever. Do you remember that? Because Pepperidge Farm remembers. Like, the amount of people that I see being like, oh my gosh, this board's gonna be so good. I'm like, how do you know that? We haven't played it yet. We don't know exactly how the mechanics work. Like, we know that there's a flash sale in Rainbow Galleria, but we don't know exactly if it's gonna last, you know, a multiple of turns. We don't know how often it happens. We don't know if it only affects stars, or if you're gonna be able to buy a Boo Bell that's normally like 30 coins, and they bring it down to 15. We don't know if golden pipes are gonna be marked down from 25 coins to 15 coins. In fact, we know very little about this item system. And maybe they're gonna introduce some really stupid items into this game. You remember the Mega and Mini Mushrooms from Mario Party 4? Yeah, those were terrible, and the game was plagued with them. Now, hopefully you understand that I'm not saying that there's going to be Mega and Mini Mushrooms in this game. I doubt that there's going to be Mega and Mini Mushrooms in this game. My concern is we haven't really seen gameplay, and even when we do see gameplay, we're still not gonna know exactly, you know, if we like it or not up until we actually play it. Like, the board I'm excited for the most is Goomba's Lagoon. I think the cutting off pathways is gonna be interesting. I'm really curious how we're gonna move around that board. I'm really curious as to what the golden Goombas are gonna do, but I could end up hating literally everything about it. I thought Mega Fruit Paradise looked amazing as a board. I love fruit, I love ocean. They look like they have some possibly cool mechanic. Oh, the bridge is gonna break, that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to this, and it was terrible. It's one of the worst boards in the entire series. And that was the board I was looking forward to the most in that game. But then again, on the flip side, the exact opposite can happen. I'm not looking forward to Rainbow Galleria, but as soon as I play it, as soon as I experience all those different shops and see what they have to offer, as soon as I figure out, you know, what the Troopa stamp thing is and going around and putting a stamp on all those boards of my color, because you got the colors for like player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, so I'm assuming it's one of those things like, whoever stamps them all gets this thing, or maybe that's how the flash sale activates, I don't know. But that's the point, I don't know. This could be great, this could be bad. Right now, I'm not looking forward to it, but when I play it, it could be great. It could be terrible. I don't know. They're bringing back Chance Time. I like Chance Time. Chance Time's great, except when it's in pinball form. Once again, I'm not claiming that it's gonna be in pinball form. It could be the exact same way it was in Superstars, or it could be something completely brand new. Something to do with button mashing or timed jumps, or who knows. Clearly Boo is back, but we don't know if he's going to function exactly the way he's kind of always functioned. For all we know, they changed it up. You're gonna say, oh, Kevra, why would they change it up? I don't know. Why did they change the dice blocks from 1 to 10 to 1 to 6? Why did Bowser take so many more coins from you in the original Mario Party game, but then when they made Superstars, he may only take 12 and then give you an item? Why would they change this area in Western Land so there's a shop over here and it looks like there's a Boo right here, and then the key gate will take you up, and basically it's just a loop. You can just continuously loop and hit Boo forever. You know, unless of course you get hit by a train. And that makes me worried about things like Mario's Rainbow Castle, where Bowser used to charge you 40 coins for a fake star. And so it wasn't just bad because you missed out on the star, you also lost 40 coins. But you know what, at the end of the day, those two boards I know at least are good. They have really good mechanics. They might screw up things here and there, but I'm assuming that they're still going to play pretty well. But as for the new boards, you guys are super excited. You're claiming that these are already really great boards, but let me ask you something. When was the last time NDCube made an actual good board? And the remade boards don't count because they just took boards that were already good and remade them. Like, yes, I do think that some of these new boards have promise, but again, I thought Mega Fruit Paradise had promise. So I'm just flabbergasted that I see so many people already claiming that this is the best Mario Party ever. I've seen tons of people on Reddit, they're like, oh, hey, should I get Superstars, Super, or Jamboree? And most people are like, oh, Jamboree's gonna be the best one, you should wait for that. And I'm like, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it might be, it could be great, it could be terrible. Why are we giving advice that you should go get a game for a game that we don't even know if it's good or not yet? Superstars we know is good. Like, tell them to go get Superstars, and then, you know, if Jamboree has good reviews, if you're seeing a lot of positive things, then go get that one. But people are just so overly confident that this is going to be the best Mario Party game ever. And I think everybody just needs to chill out. We can be optimistic, we can be hopeful, but also be a little bit realistic. Realize that yes, this could be great, but this also could be really bad. I personally hope that this is the best Mario Party game ever, but I have no clue whether or not it's going to be, and nobody else does. Even NDCube, who has been developing the game, probably doesn't know, because NDCube also thought it was a really good idea to give us a top 100 minigames without any actual boards. They thought it was a really clever idea to charge half the amount for stars and golden pipes in a coin economy where everyone's constantly getting coins. So be hopeful, be optimistic, just don't be naive. Let's all look forward to this game, but also prepare for the worst. You know, I feel like that's a great moment to end this video on. If I was smart, I would just stop talking. Anyway, while I am curious about a lot of different things when it comes to Super Mario Party Jamboree, there's a lot of questions going through my mind about how it's going to play, how it's going to work, all that kind of stuff. There is one question that has kind of dominated my mind ever since I saw that trailer. It's just this little tiny question of, what the fuck are they doing with legacy content? Seriously, is there going to be a Superstars 2? Are we just gonna get old boards and new games from now on? What is the situation? Why did we just get 2 old boards in this game? What? There are so many questions. And that's actually the topic that I want to tackle in my next video, which it seems like it's gonna be about 40 minutes long, so strap your seatbelts in. Anyway, make sure you give this video a like, a comment, and until next time, I'll catch you later.